there are receptors, okay, without binding with them a drug can produce their maximum effect. Okay, suppose there are 100 receptors in a tissue and you have given a drug, so the drug binds with only 60 receptors and it produces full effect, maximal effect. So there are 40 receptors which are left alone, so those receptors are called spare receptors. So let's see. What are spare receptors? The maximum response of a tissue may be produced by agonists when they are bound to less than 100% of the receptors. Under these circumstances, the tissue is said to possess spare receptors. Now, what are the saline features? Anatomically and functionally, these receptors are the same as physiological and pharmacological receptors. As I have said, that your spare tire is exactly the same as the other tires which are attached to your car. Okay, there is no difference. So there is no difference between spare receptors and the acting receptors. Then see, they usually do not take part in drug receptor interaction because they are spare, because they are reserved. Okay, they come into action only when pharmacological receptors are exhausted or blocked. So like your spare tire, when your acting tires for any reason they become non-functional, then you use your spare tire. The same as that when the pharmacological receptors are exhausted or blocked, these spare receptors come into play. Now, what are their importance? What is the fun of learning this thing? The importance is that spare receptors increase sensitivity to the drug. They increase drug sensitivity to the receptor, and spare receptors are important in understanding the concept of partial agonist and full agonist. Okay, so full agonist might bind with a few receptors and a few receptors might be free. Those are spare receptors. But in case of partial agonist, the partial agonist will occupy all of the receptors, but still they will produce submaximal response. So we can have the knowledge of the concept of partial agonist and full agonist from spare receptors. And another important thing is, we have said that it increases the sensitivity to the drug. Example, you can see example, the insulin receptors, myocardial cells, etc. Now come to regulation of receptors, how receptor activity can be regulated. Okay, so receptor numbers and their actions change under certain circumstances due to drug action. When you are using a drug for a prolonged period, then the receptor action can be changed, or the receptor actions are changed. How? Okay, that is the question. So there are two types of regulation. One is down regulation, another is up regulation. Let's see what is down regulation. Okay, so continued stimulation of cells with agonists generally results in a state of desensitization, that is down regulation, such that the effect of continued or repeated exposure to the same concentration of drug is diminished. Okay, so when an agonist is bound with a receptor continuously for a prolonged period of time, and it is stimulating and it is giving stimulation after stimulation after stimulation to that receptor, the receptor will be exhausted. The receptor cannot perform its action very well. Okay, it cannot maintain its performance up to the level. Its performance falls down. Okay, so that is down regulation. For example, repeated use of beta agonist bronchodilators for the treatment of asthma results in down regulation of beta adrenergic receptors. Okay, so the mechanism, let's see the mechanism. The mechanism can be change in receptor structure due to continuous stimulation, the receptor structure may change, distort. Okay, for that reason that the receptor function can be diminished. Now internalization of the receptor, that means if a receptor is expressed on the cell membrane, after prolonged stimulation it can be internalized, it can enter into the cell, it can hide inside the cell. Okay, that can be a mechanism. And then you see the decreased synthesis of the receptors. So you know that receptor number is not fixed within the body. Receptors are continuously synthesized and some receptors are being destroyed. Okay, so if you give prolonged stimulation to certain receptors by agonist drugs, then there will be decreased synthesis of receptors. Then come to upregulation. What is upregulation? Upregulation is that chronic reduction in receptor stimulation may lead to an increase in the sensitivity and number of receptors. This is called receptor upregulation. That means you are giving antagonist drugs to receptors. Okay, what will happen? The antagonist will occupy the receptor, block the receptor, and endogenous ligands cannot stimulate the receptors, so the receptors are devoid of stimulation for a long time. Okay, then what the body does? The body increases receptor synthesis. Okay, as the receptors are unstimulated, the endogenous ligands cannot work. The receptors are unstimulated. The body thinks that the receptor number has gone down, so the body starts producing a large number of receptors. So, and also the sensitivity of the receptor increases. Mechanism. What is the mechanism? Increased synthesis and amplification of signal transduction mechanism. Here is an example. This is rather an important example, that prolonged beta blocker use causes upregulation. Beta blockers are beta adrenergic blocker antagonists, so they cause upregulation of beta adrenergic receptors in the heart. What happens? So if you withdraw that antagonist suddenly, okay, that will expose the receptors to endogenous catecholamines. There would be vigorous myocardial contractions because of increased receptor numbers and actions. So what does it mean? It means beta adrenergic receptors. For beta adrenergic receptors, endogenous ligands are endogenous epinephrine. Suppose endogenous epinephrine is the ligand for beta adrenergic receptor. So you have blocked beta adrenergic receptor for a long time. What the body did? The body increased synthesis of beta adrenergic receptors. Okay, so there are a lot more beta adrenergic receptors than usual, and the blocked receptors, the receptors which were blocked, their sensitivity to their endogenous ligand have increased. Okay, so what happens if you suddenly withdraw the antagonist drug? That means their blockage has been withdrawn. Their blockage has been withdrawn. So these receptors are now free to bind with their endogenous ligand. So epinephrine, which were waiting for long time to bind with their receptors, what will they do? They will bind vigorously with their receptors. Okay, suppose you have exams for a long time, suppose for months. You have exams after exams after exams, and suddenly there comes an announcement that all exams has been cancelled. Okay, what you will do? You will rush out of your home. You will go to the market, you will go to the playground, and everywhere you will enjoy. Okay, so the endogenous ligands will do the same. Now let's see What are the differences between upregulation and downregulation? We have discussed these things already. So let's see what are the cause. Upregulation, chronic reduction in receptor stimulation, and downregulation, chronic stimulation of receptors. What are the causative agents? The causative agents are antagonists in upregulation and downregulation agonists. Receptor numbers are increased in upregulation, decreased in downregulation. What will be the effect? In upregulation you will find the withdrawal symptoms, and in downregulation there will be diminished activity. Mechanism, we have already talked about the mechanism. An example. So these are in short about receptors. In the next lecture we will talk about specific receptor mechanisms.